Hey guys, so it's been a minute since we did a best iPad accessories video. I've been using my 11-inch M4 iPad Pro for a couple of months now, and as you know, I'm always on the lookout for the best accessories and gadgets to make using these iPads an even better experience. And since we're all traveling, or at least making plans to do so, I made sure to include some great travel accessories as well as some solid desktop options. Let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants.
So starting off with the travel options, the single most important accessory in my opinion is of course a solid and compact travel charger. I'm a big proponent of carrying one single charger that can charge all of my stuff, and I find that the Ugreen Nexode Pro 100 watts charger ticks all the right boxes. If you've been around the channel for a bit, you already know I like my Ugreen stuff. It's a GaN charger, which as we know means it is very efficient at heat dissipation and therefore can be kept really nice and compact. This particular one has a 3-in-1 smart charging system, meaning it has 2 USB-C ports and 1 USB-A port, which corresponds pretty well with my current charging needs. Most things these days will charge via USB-C, thankfully, but it is nice to have a USB-A option available as well for those gadgets that still require it. It's called smart charging because it has an intelligent distribution system which directs the right charge to every device when you're charging several devices at the same time. It comes with 100 watts fast charging and it's really great. It literally charges my 14-inch MacBook Pro halfway full in under half an hour using a single USB-C port, and of course my iPhone and my iPad will also benefit from the fast charging as well. So yeah, between its small size and the powerful charge, this is the only charger I need to pack on most of my trips. Now, next up is a super useful accessory that I actually reviewed on the channel very recently as the perfect iPhone accessory, but it actually turned out to be a fantastic solution for the iPad as well. Now, if you want to get into all the details, I would encourage you to go and watch the full review, but in a nutshell, this Lexar Professional Go portable SSD with hub solves two big problems for the iPad. One is storage. We all know that the internal storage on these iPads is crazy expensive, so I do like to rely on external SSDs for additional storage. The problem with those is that I don't like to have an SSD dangling off the side of my iPad, and B, that the iPad has only one USB-C port, so when I have an SSD hooked up, I can't use anything else or charge the iPad at the same time. Now, this Lexar SSD is incredibly small, so it plugs right into the iPad without any cables and without dangling off the side. And that makes a huge difference, especially when I'm working on a plane or something like that. But it has a whopping 1 terabyte of storage in this little thing, and you can even get the exact same little size in a 2 terabyte storage version. Now, if you need to hook up other accessories or you want to keep the iPad charged while using this SSD, it does come with a little hub that provides additional ports, solving that problem as well. And unlike your traditional dongles, this one is just as tiny as the actual SSD. And of course, you can easily swap this SSD between your iPad and your phone and your computer. Absolutely love this thing, and I can definitely recommend. Next up are the Sonos Ace headphones. Now, in all honesty, most of the time when I'm using my iPad Pro, I'll just use my AirPods Pro. The reason why the Sonos are on my list is the fact that it is travel season, and I will be flying quite a bit these next few weeks and months. And on flights, I actually prefer over-the-ear headphones. I've been back and forth between my AirPods Max and these Sonos Ace. And while I do still prefer the sound coming out of the AirPods Max, it's a little better, I think. I must admit that the Sonos have slightly better noise canceling, and they are way more comfortable on my head for extended periods of time. The ear cups are very soft, and the headband is a little more comfortable than the mesh on the AirPods Max. Especially after long-term use, we all know that the mesh on the AirPods Max tends to give out a little bit, which means you actually feel the frame pressing against the top of your head. Not a great feeling. These Sonos do not have that problem. So on flights, these are my new go-tos. Now, obviously, we need a place to put all that stuff. And for that, I actually found a little cheat code. This is the Grams 28-172, and the reason why I say cheat code is that this is actually supposed to be a camera sling. I love Grams 28 stuff. I use several of their bags and slings, and they seem to have one for every occasion. But I quite like to use this camera sling as my iPad bag because the 11-inch iPad Pro fits perfectly inside the sleeve, which is padded, and because you can rearrange these camera dividers in the main compartment, you can fit whatever you want in there. like the Ugreen power brick and my Sonos Ace headphones, and still have some room to spare for little gadgets like the Lexar SSD or an Apple Pencil, for instance, which I will get back to in a minute. One thing to keep in mind is that it will not fit the iPad inside the Magic Keyboard, so if you use your iPad mostly with the Magic Keyboard, this probably isn't the bag for you. But since I need to bring my MacBook with me anyway for editing and work stuff, I tend to use my iPad as an actual iPad rather than a laptop replacement, and for that, this bag is really perfect. I do recommend using a screen protector if you plan to rock your iPad naked like I am, and of course for that I will be using our channel partner Paperlike. Not only does it protect the iPad from scratches, but because it is a matte screen protector, it also prevents fingerprints, which I'm highly allergic to. So that is a big plus for me. It also makes it much easier to use the iPad both outside in the sunlight and at airports where there's lots of bright lights, because the Paperlike screen protector drastically reduces glare as well. The biggest reason for me to apply a Paperlike to all my iPads is handwriting. I still prefer to take handwritten notes, but the glass surface on the iPad makes my handwriting even worse than it already is. We are now at Paperlike version 2.1 and they've really fine-tuned it. Paperlike uses a microbead technology called nanodots to give you that stroke-like resistance of real paper, but the image on the iPad still looks tack sharp. I deliberately did not go for the nano texture version of the iPad because while that also reduces screen glare, it doesn't provide any haptic feedback for the Apple Pencil, and I can't help but think that over time, writing on that nano texture display is gonna leave marks. If after a long use of the Paperlike you start to see some marks, you can just peel it off and replace it. Every order comes with 2 screen protectors, so you're good to go for a very long time. So for me, Paperlike is still the way to go. Now, speaking of handwriting, I do really quickly want to touch upon the Apple Pencil Pro, which is the latest generation of Apple Pencils, because I did not think I would appreciate it as much as I do. It would have been cool if I could just use my 2nd gen Apple Pencil and didn't have to buy a new one with this M4 iPad Pro, but now that I do have it, I really do appreciate the additional features on the Apple Pencil Pro. And especially if you're an artist, which I'm not by the way, this is really the one you want. Now, moving on from the travel accessories, I do have some really nice desk accessories to share with you as well. First up is this Kushu X36 iPad foldable magnetic stand. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Now, I've had this thing for quite a while, and I'm not gonna show it to you right now. I'll make sure there's some nice B-roll over it. You may have actually seen it in one of my desk setup videos, since it's very useful if you're using your iPad in conjunction with your computer monitor as well. But I saw that they're currently offering some pretty significant discounts, so I thought it would be worth sharing since they're not super cheap, so scooping one up at a discount is not a bad idea. Now, there's a reason why they're not cheap. The magnets are super strong, and so is the arm. There's zero chance of this thing drooping, even after all this time of using it, and the whole thing is made out of high quality aluminum alloy. I love that you can attach this to pretty much any table. Actually, let me show you. You just screw it on here and make sure it's secure. And there you go, we have ourselves a very, very sturdy iPad stand. So basically, you can use this as a desk setup alongside your Mac, but you can also use it as a standalone monitor arm to create that iPad-only desk setup, pairing it with a keyboard and a trackpad, for instance. By the way, Kushu is the same brand that makes my favorite 3-in-1 phone charger that I've spammed on this channel quite a bit because it's that good. Very good stuff, so probably worth checking out their current discounts. And of course, links to anything you see today will be in the description below. Now, the keyboard I'm using is the Keychron Q65 Max. This is the knob version. That should give you UK people a bit of a giggle, and I absolutely love it. Full disclosure, I'm not much of a mechanical keyboard person. I don't like putting them together myself, and I couldn't tell you really the difference between the switches either. I just really like the way this looks and feels. The typing experience is awesome. And I love how heavy it is, so once you set it down on your desk, it's not going anywhere. Now, this is an open source, customizable keyboard, so if you are into that kind of stuff, you can totally go to town. But I'm a simple man, so I'm just here for the clicky clacky sounds and the aesthetics. I like the way this looks. It's a very retro vibe. I'm here for it. And lastly, guys, I do really need to give a shout out to the Apple Magic Trackpad. I was looking at some mouse options, but no matter how good a mouse you try with an iPad, it will never be as good as the Magic Trackpad because it mimics the swiping movements on the iPad perfectly. As we know, cursor support on these iPads is still kind of meh, so if you don't already own a trackpad and you like using your iPad in a desktop configuration, definitely give it a try. It's like it was made to be used with the iPad. Alright guys, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it one of these. Subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.